We're sort of in this era of everything is hypnosis, everything is trance. If all things are hypnosis, then nothing is hypnosis. If all things are trance, then what is trance and what is hypnosis, right? And it gets a little bit confusing. When I was taught hypnosis, it wasn't taught that way. It was like, this is what hypnosis is, and this is what it was pretty much more black and white as to what it was and what it wasn't. But if you take all of the trance, and there are thousands of trance states, but if you take all of the trance states and all of hypnosis, they really can be synthesized and boiled down into 6 categories. So the first category, and that one is not like better than the other. They're just 6 different categories. And I say different, but sometimes one category can also blend into another category. But just so you can have like a really good mental mind, like post in your mind, a really good mental map of what we're talking about, I think it's better to keep it simple. So, and you're going to hear me using language like depth of trance. I try not to say the word subject, but sometimes you may hear me say subject. But if I'm saying this stuff, it's just for simplicity. We know that hypnosis is more complex. And whatever I tell you, just know that there's always going to be an exception to the rule. Everybody's going to have their own subjective experience of hypnosis, okay? So we know that. For instance, so in the first box over here to the left, conscious awareness. So we know what conscious awareness is. No phenomenon is recognized, and this is not hypnosis. Now, somebody's going to say, well, yeah, you can get phenomenon with conscious awareness. Right. Some people can, but typically in general, we think of conscious awareness as having no phenomenon associated with it. And if we're going by Dave Ellman's definition of hypnosis, then conscious awareness is not hypnosis, right? Make sense? Okay. Then we have what's called hypnoidal trance. So hypnoidal trance is the natural state of trance that mimics hypnosis, but no induction is used. So this is, you're driving down the road and you slip into highway hypnosis and you're so lost or so deep in thought that you miss your exit. That's hypnoidal trance. Okay. There was no suggestions for you to go into trance. You just slipped into it naturally. When you're falling asleep at night and you start, hearing things or seeing visions, that is a hypnoidal trance. So it mimics hypnosis, but there's no induction. So it's not hypnosis according to Ellman's definition that we just reviewed. Okay. All right. So the next category, the next one to the right of that is waking hypnosis. And this is what I'm going to be teaching you guys today. So waking hypnosis, there's no induction involved, no trance. Ellman says no trance. I would like to revise that to say no hypnotic trance, okay? But if we're going by his definition, then there's no induction, no trance, but phenomenon occurs via suggestions alone. Got it? Okay. Then we've got the hypnotic trance state, and that is what most of us are trained in. Okay, this is what most of us are using right now, the hypnotic trance state. So that's light, mid-level, and deep trance with basic to advanced phenomenon. Phenomenon like relaxation, like ideomotor responses, like catalepsy and aphasia. All of this occurs like from the light to mid to deep level trance. Some people would argue over the word state, but I'm going to keep that in for simplicity. Then we go to the next category, known as somnambulistic trance. So more or different phenomenon occurs in somnambulistic trance. So this can be anything from amnesia, analgesia, anesthesia to positive and negative hallucinations. And this can go all the way to profound somnambulism, which I work with, which includes the direct voice and instantaneous healing. Most stage hypnotists work with somnambulistic trance, at least the lighter levels of it. Again, light and depth, that's That's a metaphor, okay? When I talk about depth of trance, it's a metaphor, because it's really more of breadth of trance than depth of trance, but for simplicity's sake, I'm going to use depth of trance. And I think you guys understand what that means. All right, and then the last category over here is called plenary trance hypnosis. And that is when you get catatonia with full body catalepsy, full anesthesia, total amnesia, ideomotor responses, and deep healing states. You guys probably have not heard it called the plenary trance state. You are probably familiar with it being called the Esdale state, the coma state, or the mesmeric state. And all of those are correct. They can be used interchangeably. With waking hypnosis, we actually can get phenomenon from all of the bottom row without the trance state and without an induction. Again, I think there is a trance state kind of going on, but let's say without the hypnotic trance state with a formal induction. Got it? Okay, fantastic. All right, so let's talk a little bit about suggestion. Hypnotic phenomenon can be produced by suggestion alone. Again, we don't need an induction and we don't need a hypnotic trance state. It can be produced by suggestion alone. It takes a little bit of practice, a little bit of skill, but it can be done. Suggestion always takes hold by either instant reaction or delayed reaction. Now, this was something that was new to me when back when I was studying this. That delayed reaction actually happens in every phase of hypnosis, so be patient and wait for it. So if a suggestion is not taken right away, it doesn't mean that it won't be taken. It may just take a little bit more time with some people. And so now I teach all of my students to slow down and be patient and wait for it. So wait for the phenomenon, or wait for the answer, or wait for the reaction. It will happen. But if you get like impatient and you jump ahead, that can kind of mess up the suggestion taking hold or taking effect. All right. Also, anything that can be produced by suggestion can be removed by suggestion, including the so-called hypnotic seal. All right. So anytime you give a suggestion and it takes, you can remove that same suggestion, and anybody can do it. It doesn't have to be the same hypnotist. Anybody can do it. Just takes a little bit of skill. I've removed so many hypnotic seals over the years because I know that the suggestion can be removed. All right, and last, teach your clients auto-suggestion, and practice makes it more effective. And that's not to say, yes, they can do self-hypnosis, but even if they just do auto-suggestion and they're giving themselves positive suggestions and affirmations, that will start, building up those neural pathways, and that actually can be life-changing if they practice it enough. Okay. And I see that we have comments, but I'm going to just save those until